Hi, my friends. How are you today? Aaron here bringing your daily horoscope for Monday, Fun Day, the 4th of October, 2021. How cool is that deer this morning? I shot that. I went out and I recorded that in the woods before I had to go into work this morning. It was so cool. The wide-angle lens on the camera, on my camera phone, did not do justice. That deer was really, really, really close to me. And he's just hanging out. Like, he caught my eyes and then just eating. It's kind of fun. So we got the moon in Virgo today. Let's get on to the point. Moon in Virgo today. Continuing. Being in Virgo all day today. This is good. We need some earth energy. Practical earth energy. Get focused. As Gemini is the mind, but it's both. It's the left and right brain of the mind. I'll throw this interpretation out to you. In the Old Testament, Moses walks around 40 nights or something like that. And everybody's lost until Moses parts the Red Sea. If you know this story, there are people that talk about this that say that this is the parting of the Red Sea is actually the part in the brain of the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. A lot of the story of Moses evidently is about the brain. The burning bush is the cerebellum, which is about right here in the something that's on fire but isn't consumed by the fire, which is this first part of the brain next to the medulla oblongata that connects to our spinal cord, which is of course full of electricity but doesn't burn. Anyway, so in the story of Moses, left and right, you're confused. We're all confused between our left and our right brains. They think differently. One is very critical, analytical. The other is dreams and wishes and possibilities are endless. And this says, this is facts and it is, and math and science, and could be anything, So the moon moving into this critical, analytical thinking. So anyway, let me if you're curious about that story, the whole 40 days being lost and confused, wandering around aimlessly, okay, then parting the Red Sea leads to what? The frontal lobe. The highlight of human existence, kind of the frontal lobe of our brains, and the pineal gland, the light sensor of the brain. Anyway, so it's just like parting the left and right hemisphere leads us up here to the front into the pineal gland. So back to astrology here. An exciting news, in an exciting turn of events today, our grand air trine has ended. Okay, we have soaked up as much as we could that we were being allowed to absorb information during this time. We can go back to being wrong again, which is really good. Like I said, these air trines is like, no, I'm right. I've got it all figured out. And even that in itself is exhausting. My goodness, you got to figure out all the answers by yourself. Poor human, So the grand air trine is done. It has opened up. At least the connection between the sun and the north node has lifted today. All right, and the moon here, 14 degrees early in the morning of Virgo, creating a trine over here to Uranus in Taurus. Uranus and Taurus creating the septiles still to Neptune. This again is about our dreams, the possibilities, becoming breakthrough reality. This is like, this is what this energy is. Oh, I really wish the world was going to be like this. Yeah, but it never will. This is our analytical mind. Yeah, but it never will. And then comes Uranus, enters Taurus. It's like, oh my God. Wow, I didn't think that could happen. This is amazing. This is awesome. So this is like, look, when we get focused and we stay fixated on what it is, the goal that we have in mind, coming back to self, what is it that you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? The world, other people have an amazing way of telling us that our ideas are stupid, small. We tell a big idea to a small-minded person. This is something I haven't talked about in years, about astrology. It's like the Disney World, Disneyland. Walt Disney wanting to build, Disneyland, this amazing theme park and underground tunnels and whatnot down in Florida, and bought all this swampland. This is like, that's nuts. It's like, you're crazy. You're crazy, Walt. Who's crazy now? He did it. and it's the biggest thing that exists. You know what I mean? Like what? It's huge. We don't have to even talk about that. So it's just like taking an idea. You can take this idea to so many people. They could even be big-minded individuals, but if they don't see your vision, this grandiose concept of what you have, you know, their feedback to you might be critical. It might be, oh, you're going to waste your money or this. You know, at the end of the day, you can take in, and this is part of this here with Chiron septile to the moon. Let me come back and show you that connection. This is early, but we're going to be feeling this energy. Okay. So it's like if, you know, let's say you have an intuition to do something. You have whatever. And then somebody comes along and says something to you and it makes you question. Now you don't do the thing that you wanted to do. Then later on, you're like, man, I wish I did the thing. And then you come and find out, you're like, oh my God, what if it was like Bitcoin or something like that? You know, oh my God, I could have made millions out of Bitcoin and I wanted to do it, but I listened to my good friend and my good friend told me it was a bad idea. And I listened to them and I can't believe I listened to them. So this is like, look, we had an idea. We had an instinct, intuition, the tickle of the feather, you know, and first spirit's going to tickle you with the feather, then they're going to tap you on the shoulder, then they're going to hit you head with the brick. So it's just like the brick at this point is, oh my God, I shouldn't have listened to my friend, and now the numbers are skyrocketed. I could have literally been a millionaire. You know, this could have been a life-changing thing for me. That's the brick, you know. So the point is to listen to our intuition, to listen to those callings before it gets to that brick, you know. So Chiron creating the septile of the moon in very precise Virgo. This is like, look, is this my idea or is it their idea? Their idea says don't do this. My idea says do this. And if I'm the one consulting an individual, a friend, a family member, my lover, whatever it may be, okay, with all this Mercury, Mars, and the Sun all in the sign of Libra here, means there's a lot of involvement of other people to bounce ideas back to other people. But ultimately, you are responsible for your feelings, you're responsible for your emotions, you're responsible for your actions, you're responsible for the outcome. Regardless if somebody pushed you along the way, regardless if somebody aided you, advised you, or didn't advise you to do that, you did it, you know what I mean? It's like we have to take in, you know, so much of this past week, week and a half maybe, is about like personal accountability. You know, personal accountability in our relations with other people. And that is something hugely we can all look around us and say, we've dropped the ball. You know, it's like, where's our honor as individuals and the responsibility for our actions, for our words, for what we're doing, and for our connections with other people? We're so quick to blame. So a lot of this energy is bringing us back to self. You know, a little bit less blame. Now, as our day moves on here, that's an important one. The moon's going to be septile to the North Node. Now, this is powerful because Mercury, which is retrograde in Libra, which is, again, all about justice and balance. And I think with this air trine that we've had for the past, you know, month and all of this Libra energy, I think that I feel that Libra is one of the most misunderstood signs in the zodiac. Often, like I say, dealing with like this pushover mentality, and that's just simply not it. You know, and all of this personal energy here in Libra this year, I think really gives us a feel and understanding of our mental patience, of our own mental judgments, of the mental tug of war that we have, mental versus emotional. Okay, this is Cancer Libra. How do we act? This is Aries. How are we viewed? How is our reputation? You know, between our actions, our emotions, and our thoughts, how is it viewed to the world? Are we a balanced individual? Are we irresponsible individual? Are we pointing our finger and blaming the other? Are we staying focused on an objective? Are we all over the place? You know, here's the moon creating this little septile to the North Node. You know, and sometimes I can be very faulty of this. You know, it's like starting here, and then this leads to this idea, and this leads to this idea, and then we've lost the meaning of where we started from, the derivative. You know, so this is like, come back to the point. So this is what's coming through right now in a discussion, communication, which all of this deals with communication, arguments, resolving quarrels, resolving analytical, emotional battles of the minds between different people. It can be all of these things. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm trying to explain. Okay, here we go. So when we bring up something to someone that we care about, to someone that we love, whether it's any kind of relationship, this is any kind of person in our life, when we come up to this and say, here, this is what's going on, I want to talk to you about this. Oftentimes, through deflection and to evade responsibility, which is going to be the moon opposing Neptune here. It's like, no, you're here. Be present in this room. Be present in the conversation. Your community needs you. Conversation has to happen. So let's get back on point, on focus. So when we're engaging in conversation, if I say to you, this is what's going on. If maybe I'm the boss, I need you. No, let's not do boss. Let's just do any relationship. If I say this to you is something that's maybe hurting or hurtful or an action that's going on, even if you use I feel this way, it doesn't matter. The other person, you're basically saying you've done something wrong and it's bothering me, when we take that approach. So what the other person comes back and is not acknowledging of that thing that you just said, hey, you left the garbage out. And if in turn we're deflecting and saying, yeah, well, you did this, and this, and this. That's kind of the nature of what we're talking about here, about being focused. So it's like, well, we've now lost the narrative of what the origin of the conversation, which was about the trash or and now you're talking to me about something from last week or last year or 15 years ago, and you're only bringing this up to defer, to distract, to take energy away from the task at hand, And now we've got the moon later in the day, as our energy continues to trine to Pluto, which is still creating a septile to the sun and a septile to the south node and septile back to Pluto. You see this little septile trine thing happening here, and then the actual trine to the moon to Pluto. So this is saying emotionally, I'm going to take responsibility for myself. Emotionally, I'm the one in charge. I'm the one responsible for my emotions. You can say and do anything to me, and it's all in how I react. And that it continues as the moon creates. You don't see it here, but this is a quincunx to Eris. How we deal with information on a personal level. Information that I'm communicating to somebody else, information that's communicated to me. How am I being responsible, staying focused? The Capricorn energy is one foot in front of another. The mountain goat's not jumping 10 feet up and down and back again. It's not 4 steps forward, 2 steps back. That's not how the mountain goat energy works. This transformation is one step at a time, and it's one carefully placed step at a time. So that means if we're dealing with conversation, if we're dealing with communication from somebody and they try to say, well, you this. Okay, let's talk about that. Thank you for bringing it up. Let's talk about that after we talk about the focus hand here, the task at hand, the original thing I'm bringing up. No, I want to talk about this right now. Okay, we can talk about it now. But let's come back to what I'm bringing up to you first. So if we're just, it's such an irresponsible thing. You already know that. When it's just like, I want to talk to you about this, and then it's diverted and talked about something else just to take the attention away from somebody else. What is happening here astrologically is we're trying to heal that. Okay? We're trying to heal that part of ourselves that when we get a bad dog, the dog doesn't, unless you have a husky, he doesn't talk back. When you get a bad dog, but it's just like the dog takes it on the chin. And this is kind of where we're at. We have to, in a sense, take it on the chin. And we're reevaluating, rethinking our communication, our actions, even as Mars is here, with the Sun and Mercury here in Libra. And then lastly, Mercury is creating this little quincunx to Neptune. So it's like, again, it's like we don't see the value or the power of this communication yet. We don't understand, well, it's, who cares? I could go the rest of my life and never speak with you again. This energy could say, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really have to reconnect or rekindle or open up or have a deeper understanding of this. It doesn't matter. And what this energy is saying you don't understand the karmic release that's happening when you have that conversation. You don't see it. You don't get it right now. You might not get it for years. That doesn't mean that the conversation isn't extremely important to have right now. We might not get it. We don't have to. You always get what you need. You don't always get what you want, right? My friends, have a beautiful day. I love you. I wish you enough, and I'll see you tomorrow.